Welcome to the ExPack podcast, your source for news regarding video games, esports, and everything media. Now, here are your hosts, Jacob and Dalton. What is up, people of the internet?
I'm gonna be coughing a lot.
That was a good
I'm trying not
to. We're back with another ExPack podcast. This is episode number 8, and we're gonna talk about video games and stuff. And as always, I am Jacob, aka Spiffy-ish, aka other things, and joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, and his name is
Dalton.
Okay.
That me.
That was really cheery. I enjoy that.
I'm just trying not to cough, man.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, we recorded last week, so that was cool, and now we're doing it again this week, so that's also cool.
It's almost like this is a annual thing.
Well, not annual. That's not the right word.
Oh, is that yearly?
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah, we don't
just weekly. It's a weekly thing.
Weekly.
That's the plan. That's the idea. And yeah, there wasn't a ton going on this last week, but that's okay. We have stuff to talk about. So first of all, I forgot to pull up the standings, but we're going to talk about League of Legends esports and the LCS standings and what happened this last weekend. The main thing being Immortals lost to CLG. So good on them, and it was a really well played game, and it was a good game, and yeah. So as far as standings go, though, we have Immortals still in first. This is for NA, obviously, at 13-1. Then we have CLG in hard second at 10-4. We have Cloud9 at 9-5. We have TSM at 8-6. We have both Energy and Liquid at 7-7. And then we have Impulse at 5-9, as well as Echo Fox at 5-9. And then we have Dig at 4-10 and Renegades at 2-12. Renegades won another game, so that's good.
Yeah.
TSM got pooped on, so that's not good.
No.
That was really depressing to watch, but oh well. But yeah, so CLG got another, I think, isn't this their third 2-0 week?
Is it?
Maybe not.
No, didn't they?
I want to look at their record. I can't remember. I feel like...
Slightly off topic, but am I the only one that kind of dislikes the LCS standings? Like how you have to click so many times.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But well, it doesn't say past the last, but they definitely have gotten 2 weekends of 2-0, so that's good. So yeah, they got another 2-0 weekend, and they're looking really, really strong, and just they're playing well, and they're playing as a team, and it's good. It's good to see. So yeah, it's pretty exciting for them. Cloud9 still pretty solid as far as team play goes. I just feel like they might be struggling a little bit individually. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time reading them because you can say they have trouble individually, but it's like they take turns. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like one of them goes off, and the other one is just they just don't synergize.
And I think it's the consistency that you find in Immortals that makes them because very rarely will any of them play poorly, right? So if you have some games, and a lot of teams are like that, where some games some people will just go absolutely ham and do really, really well, and then other games won't, whatever. But I think that's the biggest thing about these top teams is the consistency of their players. But the thing is, that has to coincide with the consistency of the team play. So the shot calling, the rotations, the ganks, the decisions, everything like that has to be consistent as well. And that's probably where some of the problems are coming in for, say, TSM, where for the most part, they're fairly consistent as players themselves. Um, there are times when that is untrue, but for the most part, I feel like compared to other games, individually they're pretty consistent, but they're having problems with keeping together as a team and everything that they do, and where that is actually coming from, like, could be argued anyway.
Yeah,
And they did fire their coach a couple weeks ago, which we talked about, and they haven't done as well since then. So that has been kind of a hot topic as far as was that even a good decision, let alone needed. So, but I think the biggest thing is that we'll have to see coming into. So this weekend there's no matches because of IM Katowice, so that's where most of the popular teams, I guess, will be.
yeah.
So, but we will see once they get back from that how that works out, I guess.
Do you think that's, in your opinion, do you think playing something besides the LCS is a break for them, or do they have to put more time into that than?
I feel like it. Okay, here's the thing. So it's IM, and like IM is kind of, it's considered a major, especially for like Counter Strike and stuff like that. But I feel like it's a struggle for League of Legends because, like, yeah, they can win money and they can get the whatever, like, bragging rights of, hey, we won IM, but it doesn't actually help them towards playoffs at all.
Right.
So, which, I mean, I think actually I don't even remember which NA teams are actually going. I know CLG is, and I think maybe TSM. I can't remember. I don't think I have that. But I mean, so we know that. So for sure, Immortals have already gotten their playoff spot, so they're cool. And so, but I don't think that that's going to change the way they play at all, just because of how they play as a team.
Yeah.
I think some teams would, but I mean, you could argue that maybe that's why they lost to CLG. Like, they already clinched their playoff spot. They might be taking it a little bit easier, but I don't really think that's the case. I think CLG came ready to win, and so they proved that they are a top team for sure. So on the other side of the ocean, in EU, so we have H2K, G2, and Vitality all tied for first at 11-3, guaranteed playoff spots. And then we have Unicorns of Love at 9-5, and they also clinched their playoff spot. So I'm pretty sure that CLG and at least CLG has also clinched their playoff spot. I would think if ULL did at 9-5, I would think that the 10-4 CLG, but I don't actually see anything about the NA playoffs. But whatever. So we have Unicorns at 9-5, then we have Fnatic at 8-6, Origin at 7-7, then we have both Elements and Splice at 4-10, and we have Rockcat at 3-11, and then we have Giants at 2-12.
Oof.
So this is pretty much what we predicted.
Yeah.
G2, Vitality, H2K, and Unicorns. I definitely thought Unicorns would be 10-4 going into this week, not 9-5, but it's okay. Fnatic is still trying to find their stride, I guess. They don't necessarily look bad, but they are definitely not the Fnatic that we have come to know, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll have to see once it gets into playoffs if they change anything. But going off of this, with Giants at 2-12, same record as Renegades, but Giants have decided to make some lineup changes. So they swapped out 3 players. They got rid of Adam, Betoniuk, and Adri, I think. And so, wait, yeah, no, that's right. Okay. And so, they picked up, let's see, they got Smitty J, who was a sub for Dignitas. They got Wisdom and Sonstar from Korea. And so they are hoping that this is going to be able to make us a difference. But the thing is, I feel like they can't even get, there's only 2 weeks left. Like, they can't get into the playoffs, I don't
Yeah.
believe. So I feel like this is going to be their way of like, okay, well, we have 4 games left, potentially. And maybe they're going to test this out and see how this goes. And then they're hoping for something good to come out of it. And then they can go from there for next season. But we'll see.
I don't know. There's a history of people picking up Korean players and then having so much communication problems that just puts them back even further.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't really know how well that's gonna help them, but anything can happen.
We'll see. I mean, I bet, I mean, really at this point, it's like relegation, right? So they're going to be playing for that and hoping that they don't get relegated. But yeah, also overseas, Forgiven, who is the 80 carry for H2K and has objectively carried them a lot this season, is unfortunately facing compulsory military duty. So basically, he's from Greece, and in Greece, it's very similar to how we know in the U.S. the draft kind of thing, but it is far more mandatory in that you basically have to serve a certain amount of time in the military in your adult life. And so so they were told, or he was told, like the morning that they played last week on Friday, I believe. And so basically people have been all over the internet have been trying to figure out ways that he can get around this and still play. And the team said basically, like, we fought for Ryu to play and we're going to fight for Forgiven, and he said that they will succeed. So we'll see how that works out. But from the way it sounds, there's ways around it that, I mean, are perfectly legal, such as like applying for college and or being accepted into a college and stuff like that in Greece. So hopefully he's able to get that out and figured out. I mean, going into 2 weeks left and then playoffs, I'm sure that they're going to want their hard carry marksman. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a stud in the game, so it would definitely be unfortunate if they lost him. But yeah, so that's pretty much what we're looking at for League. We'll just have to watch Katowice this weekend and see what happens there, see if anything surprises us, I guess, with the teams that are there. But in Counter-Strike, we had some qualifiers this last weekend for the MLG major. So we had, let's see, G2, Mouse Esports, or Mouse Sports, I don't know what it is, Gambit, and then Splice and Liquid all qualified for the Columbus major. And then Counterlogic Gaming, Cloud9, and Flipside Tactics, which I think Flipside was a different team and they rebranded, but I cannot remember. They're Ukrainian.
Yeah.
But so that's 8 teams. And they're going to be joining basically that's just the top 8 from the last majors. So that's Envious, Navi, FaZe, NIP, Fnatic, Virtus Pro, Astralis, and Luminosity. So a lot of really good teams. I think this is going to be a pretty exciting tournament. These are the kind of tournaments that I tend to tune into for Counter-Strike and watch. Like, I think they just had an ESL tournament, I think it was, or maybe it was one of the IEM tournaments. I don't remember, but I don't know. Like, I think there's just something about the feel of majors. Like, I think part of it is probably the production value, to be honest with you. I struggle with like I did not like the Shanghai majors are just going on with Dota, and we'll talk about one situation with that people have probably heard about, and it's absolutely absurd. But um, I've always struggled with Dota broadcasts because 3 different times over the weekend I tried to tune in to watch Dota because it does interest me at some points. I tried to watch and there was never a game on. Like there was never a game playing. It was just people talking, and it
Yeah,
was really weird. It just felt weird. Like it didn't feel like this is a video game broadcast. It feels like they're trying to like touch too much into like sports. Um,
it's it's
and it
awkward.
yeah, it's
It
really
really
super
is.
super awkward. And I feel like it's because we watch these league broadcasts and Riot Games does such an exceptional job with them that it feels like you're watching a professional studio production. And that's I feel like that's at this point like it's 2016, it should
Yeah.
feel like that. Esports is an established thing, right? Which obviously Valve has a lot on their minds, whereas Riot Games just this is what they do, right? Um, but at the same time, I feel like if they want to, they're like if they're pumping money into this, and like they just announced what last week that they're doing more money for Counter Strike tournaments and everything like that. Um, I feel like I just feel like it's just weird. Um, I don't know,
It
but I mean, if I think the biggest thing about it is because I don't play Dota often, the the lack of like external interest that they put into the broadcast, like it just doesn't it just doesn't click for me. So then I don't have any like real motivation to watch it, right? So
it feels like you have to be really in the scene to understand like the it's almost like inside jokes all the time going on.
right,
Like to me, that's what it is. Like of course they're not always jokes, but just the broadcasters don't do as well of a job as Riot does for I guess what's the word I'm looking for? I guess people that are kind of new to just the scene in general. Like we understand MOBAs, we understand what's happening during a
right.
game, but everything that goes on besides that, they don't. It's like they talk about all these little inside jokes of what players may have interactions with each other and stuff. And like if you don't watch Dota all the time, you don't get any of that. You don't
Right.
understand the importance of it, and they spend a lot of time on that. So you're just kind of lost there
Yeah.
watching that, and it makes it feel kind of awkward, which again is partly because we don't play a lot of Dota, but still you would think if they wanted to bring in more people to be interested in Dota, they wouldn't broadcast it in that way.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I just think that they have to find that balance, and we'll talk about it later because there's I read up a lot about past tournaments and because of this whole issue that happened, um, and a lot of it is really interesting to me about how things are done and everything like that. And and the biggest thing that I will talk about later is the fact that some of the hosts they bring in have no idea what's going on in the game, so they just kind of talk about whatever else they can. And we have a question from JC Hyena, and he asks what makes Counter Strike Global Offensive so popular. Um, and honestly, I think there's 2 things. I think the biggest thing is the history, right? So the how long, like with Counter Strike 1.6 with or in Source and all that, and then now, so a lot of this fan base has come up, but they've done I feel like a really good job with keeping it fresh, right? So, um, what Go has been out for how long now?
I have no idea.
Maybe it's not 4 or 5 years,
Somewhere around there.
probably about that. Um, and so they've done a lot to keep it relevant. So whether that's updates, whether that's like the operations that they do. So let's say we compare it to the other big shooters. So we have Call of Duty. So Call of Duty, they release a new Call of Duty every year and a half, 2 years, whatever. And they release these DLC packs. Well, each of these DLC packs cost you how much money, and then you're having to pay for the console service and everything like that. Um, and so I feel like what it is that there's more and more people that are coming into the just PC gaming in general, and they're looking and they see this super competitive shooter that has just a giant fan base already, and so I think it just keeps spiraling. And then we also have the Steam service, which continues to grow and grow, and every single year you see record numbers of people, like concurrent players and everything like that. And so I feel like it's just a really good job by Valve to keep just interest, like general interest. And it I feel like, and we've talked about this, but as far as competitiveness goes, like it just feels more competitive in the way that it's played. Like even compared to like Halo and stuff like that, which I used to play Halo too, but I mean I was pretty heavy into Call of Duty MLG back in the day, back in like Call of Duty 4. But yeah, I mean that's yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
To me, it falls down to like 3 points. It's um, accessibility because the game's cheap and it's pretty easy to understand the game. It's a very complex game in the competitive sense, but it's very easy for people to just watch it and understand what's going on.
Right. I feel like it's the easy to play, hard to master kind of thing, like
Right.
where you have a fairly like high skill ceiling where there are definitely people that will play the game and they will get incredibly good, but like it's not that bad just to play, right?
Right.
So,
But that's the accessibility, the competitiveness comes into play. That's I think what kind of separates that from games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. The biggest thing is um, games like Battlefield and Call of Duty are popular in a different way because there's a lot of different ways to play the game. Whereas Counter-Strike, pretty much, it's a game you're probably not going to stick with for a long time unless you're a competitive player, unless you have fun playing ranked games, unless you have fun following teams, which it came out at a very good time because it came out kind of at the top of, and I don't mean to like keep uh, fanboying like Riot because there's, we do play League and that's obvious,
right,
but
right.
still objectively, Riot was at this place where they kind of made a standard with LCS of what competitive game broadcasting should be. And Counter-Strike came in and they kind of really quickly grasped what they wanted to do with their competitive game. And people came in and saw like, okay, well, this is the new Counter-Strike. But in Source, it was always these tiny tournaments and things that people didn't really hear about. And this is Counter-Strike to where everybody can watch all these tournaments and everything that played Source maybe and hasn't touched Counter-Strike in a long time. So then they had that fan base they got to bring in. And then the third thing is honestly just their business model because it has the crate system with the keys and the skins and everything else. And there's a lot of people that buy into that, even if they're not necessarily super good at the game, they will
Right.
still spend money on the skins. So
Yeah.
the game makes money for them, and money is what will drive the competitive scene, and that's what got them to where they are so fast. So when you combine all those things, they kind of just came out at a great time, and they knew what they wanted to do with the game, and it also, like you said, it targets PC players, which for shooters, PC players have always had access to Call of Duty, and they've always had access to Battlefield and things like that, but they haven't ever had like a game that was so competitively centered around PC players. Like if you try to play Counter Strike with a controller, I mean, good luck to you, man. That's all I
Yeah.
can say. So it really is targeted towards PC players. So they still had like a target audience in multiple ways, and it just they had a good business model, I think.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day it kind of runs down to intentionality, right? So they had this game that they had and then they wanted to bring it into the new system, and they didn't say, "Oh, well maybe we should like focus a lot on consoles and things and broaden our horizons." No, they were like, "No, like this is our fan base. This is what we have." And we're gonna go with it, and people like that, and so and I was gonna say with that whole with the cases and the skins and things like that, it's kind of interesting to see like how the Steam store affects the economy like of games in general, like not even just of Valve, but like you see all these sites now where like gambling and things like that, and people go crazy for that stuff.
Yep.
I mean, you don't even like I would say that majority of those people have addictive personalities, but at the end of the day, a lot of us have some sort of like susceptibleness to being addicted to something. So, and being able to gamble and being able to even just purchase and have a chance at getting something super cool. Like I've unboxed multiple knives, and it's like the coolest feeling. And
Yeah.
it's nothing. It's a freaking it's pixels on a screen, but like I don't know. It's just yeah, and that might just be me too. But
Well, but see that's what I meant by the way they released the game too, is that's the hook because the game only costs $15. So people
right,
can pay
right.
$15, not feel bad about paying for that. They get into the game and then they realize, "Oh, look at all these nice skins. I have all this extra money because I didn't pay $60
Hmm.
for the game." And then that's when they get
I
hooked
mean,
into that.
it's the same with League though. Like it's a free
Yeah.
game. I, I'm gonna get real for a second. I've spent hundreds of dollars on League of Legends. Like I have, and it's just they do it's marketing. Like they do a really really good job because what like and Counter Strike does it too with like sales.
Yep.
Sales and coupons are the biggest marketing ploy on the planet, and
Ever.
people don't even realize it. My mom will come home and she'll be like, "Oh, I got this coupon for this." I'm like, "What? You would never think about buying that, but now you have a coupon. You think you have to, just because it's cheaper, you should buy it. When really, so say it's a $30 item, and now it's half off. It's $15. You're still spending $15 that you didn't need to spend, right?
Yep.
So League of Legends, they put these sales on for these skins that you think that like I did it not even like a month ago when they did the lunar sales. I was like, oh, these skins are super cool. I'm never gonna be able to get them this cheap. So I bought RP. It was only like $5, whatever, but still. And when in reality, that skin could very well go on sale again in 6 months. But
Yep.
it's yeah, it's crazy and it's smart though. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, these people know how to run their business. And then JC also asked about Battlefield, and I honestly don't know what Battlefield would need to do to become a competitive game or even like as popular. Like I enjoy playing the Battlefield games, I really do. I think Hardline was not the best idea. I think it was kind of silly. I think Bad Company 2 was the last one I really enjoyed, and I think part of it was because of the campaign. It had a ridiculously fun campaign and characters that were funny and everything like that. But like I had, or right now I like on Origin they have game time where you can play a game for free, and it's Battlefield 4, and I've played like 2 matches, and then it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't. Something about it just doesn't grab me. It just kind of still feels like the same thing, and I think it's. I feel like
There's
so. Here's the thing, though. We talk about Call of Duty and it being the same thing, but honestly, like Black Ops 3 is a totally different game than Modern Warfare 2. So like it might take a couple generations, but they do change and they do add aspects that make it uh like enticing, right? So I think Battlefield tried to do that with Hardline where they released it's like, "Oh, well now you're cops and robbers." But that was pretty much the only change. Like it's still essentially the same game. Um so I don't know, maybe in the next game they'll add something or do something that is like mind blowing and adds actual change. But I also think it's because Battlefield is the kind of game where you play it for big maps and you play it for vehicles and you play it for like these big epic things just like Battlefront, and that doesn't make for a competitive game. It's way too chaotic.
if you're going to simplify it down in my opinion, the base of what is different between something like Counter-Strike and Battlefield, it's pretty simple. You play Battlefield for fun.
Right.
Counter-Strike's fun, but it's fun for a different reason. There's a lot of people that don't play Counter-Strike for fun. They play
Right,
it to
right,
win, and that's the
right.
only reason they play. Battlefield is fun because it's not like you're always in the spotlight. You have a really big team. You have your little job that you're going to do, whether you're a sniper, whether you're flying a helicopter, and you can make some insane plays, and it's a lot of fun. But imagine having that many people and trying to broadcast that or make it competitive. It would be
Right.
impossible. You couldn't keep track of anything. So it doesn't really have a place in that realm. Like there's
Yeah.
just two separate types of games. There's nothing wrong with either type whatsoever. It's just people like us, like you and me, we gravitate more towards the competitive rank system, trying to climb the ladder, doing things like that. And doing that in a Battlefield game would just be near impossible.
Yeah,
So
and I think that's what, like, I feel like right now we're in the age of competitive gaming. Like,
yeah,
the League of Legends, the Counter-Strike, like, they've just gotten so big. They have millions of people watching these teams, and then they're like, holy crap, like, I can do that, I can do that. Like, I can get good at this game. And so they want to play the competitive games. And because of how much influence those games have, and like, even if you've never played League of Legends, like, you know what it is. Like, you can probably talk about League of Legends. You've probably heard about whatever drama, whatever crap happens. Like, you probably heard about it.
yeah.
And I think that that's, like, they just have such a big influence that, for the most part, for games like Battlefield and I mean, honestly, even Halo, like, you're gonna have mostly, like, the diehards that are gonna be playing those games, which Halo does have a competitive scene, definitely, and, like, it's definitely backed a lot by MLG and stuff like that. But it's a totally different kind of person. Although I say that, but then Summit plays competitive Halo and competitive Counter Strike, or has. I mean, he still plays them, but but yeah. Yeah. So thank you for the questions, JC. I appreciate that. And actually, I was going to talk about Halo because there's a organization, Noble Esports, who I think that they are only in Halo, but basically they formed last year, and they've had a bunch of, like, roster changes, whatever, and they have these contracts. And basically, the players are saying, like, hey, like, we don't really care to be on the team anymore. And the organization is actually threatening to sue them if they get out of the team, whatever. So they actually, like, and they haven't done terrible. They've actually done, let's see, so they made it into the World Championship, but then the players basically said that they wanted to get a different sponsor, essentially, and that is a breach of contract. So, like, the contract legitimately says that they will take legal action if they attempt to play in the World Championship under any name other than Noble. So, but at the same time, they also say that that the players have ceased all communication with the organization after they said that they're going to leave. And so I feel like this is a really silly move on the players' part, because they signed this contract with an organization and for a specific amount of time, and you should fulfill that contract, right? And so, like, you don't really see this in, like, professional sports. Like, if a person signs a contract, unless if they get traded or whatever, like, they have a compromise, like, a professional player isn't just gonna leave a team like, oh, I'm gonna go play for the Cowboys. I don't know why anyone would want to do that, but
Don't do that.
I'm gonna switch teams now. Like, you don't see that, and I don't know. It's kind of an awkward situation, but I mean, honestly, like, it makes
That just doesn't make any sense to me, though.
yeah.
So
Okay. So what it is that, so the players haven't made any, like, formal statements, but one of the players did. Apparently, the organization was avoiding taxes with how the players were paid, and the contracts were kind of shady and different stuff like that, which is, like, all good and well to be upset about. Like, if I was working for a company like this and they were paying my bills, I would want it to be done right. But at the same time, like, this isn't how you handle that. Like, you get a lawyer and you figure things out, instead of, like, now you not only are gonna probably lose your spot in this, you're gonna have now a reputation for ditching a team under contract, and you're probably gonna get sued for more money than your contract is even worth. So
it doesn't matter what type of business you're talking about, whether it's a gamer or a artist, musician, whatever. As soon as you try to breach a contract or get out of a contract, like, if you don't have a reason that you can bring to the courts are going to rule in favor of the contract, and you're going to get screwed.
That's literally the whole point of a contract.
Yeah.
The whole point of a contract is, I'm signing this and I'm agreeing to these terms. I'm agreeing to do this for this amount of time, do this for you, whatever. And if you can't follow through on that, there better be a freaking like rock solid reason as for why. So, but yeah, it's just more complicated situations with contracts, I guess. Yeah. So, now I just got a message on League. Shut up, Jerry. So the Shanghai Majors started. Sorry, I had to tell my friend off. And day one, first of all, was a disaster. Second of all, the host gets fired. Basically on the spot, directly after a segment. And proceeds to get called an ass by Gabe Newell himself on Reddit. So,
see, I heard about this, but I didn't hear why. I want to know.
So James Harding is now a fairly established Dota 2 host. He originally was asked, he did some hosting of different events and stuff like that in the past. Then he was asked by Valve to host TI2, which is the International 2. That's their major world championship tournament for Dota. He said yes. He knew little to nothing about the game at that point. They still asked him to come and had him host this event that was poorly funded. He was the only one that got paid, I'm pretty sure. Everybody was like treated not that great, and it was like they had a ton of technical problems and all this stuff. Whatever. It ends. Everything. He's on good terms with everyone. Whatever. He then gets asked to come back to TI3. He does that. Same thing. Some technical problems. Some weird things with people getting paid, people not getting paid. Whatever. But they end and they say thank you and whatever. Now TI4 comes around, and he basically TI4 was when they introduced the signature items in Dota. So during the time of the tournament, you could get signed in-game items from the hosts, the casters, stuff like that. I did not know this, but that is how those people got paid.
What?
So originally they were literally only going to get paid based on how many they sold of their signature item. So they were super pissed about this. So they went to them and they basically worked out. James was the head man on this, and he basically worked out that instead of that, they got a base amount, and then if they sold above that, then they would get the extra money. So here's the thing. So let's say he sold 11,000 of these things at $1 a piece, right? Which I don't even know if I don't know how many he sold. He didn't say, but the base amount might have been 10,000. So if he sold 11,000, he's only getting 11,000, right? If someone else sold 5,000, they're going to get the 10,000. So instead of getting it as a bonus, it was just treated as if that's how many you sold and that's how much you get, but there is also a base amount for how much you paid. And it was this really weird situation. And they had technical problems, and basically James had kind of become in the for them was for like the middle guy where whenever things went wrong, like people would kind of like look at him like, hey, like, because he was the one that had worked with Valve before. And so because of that, I cannot remember his name, but one of the head production people for Valve like basically asked him about the event, whatever, and he vented to him, and I guess out of that kind of came a personal spite, where he was just kind of like blocked off, and he thought that it was a personal beef, whatever. And whereas James Harding didn't care, like he was just legitimately like, we're getting screwed over here, whatever. So at that point, he wasn't going to be asked back to anything else. Now come to this Shanghai major, and he gets asked to come back, and he talks to Ice Frog himself. Uh, and basically Ice Frog says like, yeah, like be yourself. People love you. So at this point, like pretty much in the Dota community, like he's known for having his personality. He's kind of brash. He's kind of uh, I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it, but he speaks his mind and he does his segments, but he does them well. Like he made things more entertaining than they probably would have been otherwise. He did say some weird things at this last broadcast, which were kind of like, I don't know why you would talk about that, but whatever. So he gets asked, and yeah, Ice Frog says, yeah, like be yourself, whatever. So he doesn't really get told what his segment should do. He just says, like, they basically tell him like, oh, it should take up this amount. So he puts all this prep into. He decides what the segment's going to be. He wants to do a whiteboard segment with, basically, what was it? Basically he wanted to focus on players and have like the group talk about certain players and what they expect out of them and different things like that. But he used a whiteboard. It was like a smaller whiteboard that sat behind him. So they do this segment, or they go to do this segment. Well, again, technical issues, and he has to take a 20-minute segment, and it ends up being an hour and 40 minutes.
Holy crap. With a whiteboard.
They're just sitting there, and they literally are running out of things to talk about. So he's trying to just take up as much space as he can. And there's another guy on the couch that like helps him a lot and it does pretty well. But like it was not good. Like honestly, Valve should have just been like, okay, well we can't have games today, so let's just like cut it. But they just literally just said, hey, keep going. And then the segment finally ends, and he goes backstage, and his basically what he says is one of his best friends, someone that works with Valve, I can't remember his name either, comes up to him and says like, you're fired. Like he literally had an email from the original, that big production guy from TI4 that had beef with him. He basically emailed them and said like, oh, you have to tell your friend to like leave. And so he was fired right on the spot. No real explanation other than like something about him bringing a whiteboard and it looking unprofessional and stuff like that. And I'm like, have you watched these broadcasts? They already look unprofessional. But anyways, so he basically just went on Twitter. He was like, well, I guess I'm not coming back, whatever. And then Gabe went on Reddit, called him an ass, said that they won't be working with him again. And then they did... What else did he say? He said something else as well. Oh, here it is. He said, as long as we're firing people, we're also firing the production company that we've been working with on the Shanghai Major. They will be replaced. So basically, he fires the main host and the entire like production crew in literally day one of this major.
Well, it sounds like the production crew needed to be fired. Because
right.
that's their job, is to set up those segments.
And the silliest thing is how bad, like, the production, not even, like, the production value like we were talking about earlier, but literally just technical problems, like, internet going out, like, just these huge gaps of time where there's nothing really going on. It's happened in multiple majors for Dota. And so James Harding wrote up this huge statement, which is where I got most of that information from. And he also talked about, like, I think it was TI3, where he had to host for, like, 12 plus hours. Like, so he brought in, I can't remember her name, but there's a girl that helps with Dota 2 broadcasts. He brought her in and said, hey, like, let's split this segment. It's literally a whole day. First of all, why are they doing a whole day broadcast with no games? I don't understand that whatsoever.
Okay. Before you go on, I actually wanted to point that out because that's a question I had. I remember, I think it was the third international. Like, I had some people, telling me, oh, the Dota International is going on, blah, blah, blah. So they were watching it, so I decided to tune in. Every time I tuned in, there wasn't any games going.
Right, and that's what I was saying about even this last one. But and so I don't understand that first of all at all. But basically he said, "Hey, like you can come help me host this segment. Like we'll tag team it. We'll take turns." And so he did the first whatever like 3 hours basically, and then she took over, and basically he like literally minutes after he left the stage got a text like, "Hey, you have to get back on stage right now." So basically they both ended up having to host for like 12 hours, and then they had to get back up again at 7 a.m. the next day and do the same thing. And
What
I'm
the
like,
hell?
that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, not only is an entire day of like, I enjoy some of the segments that they do during the league broadcast, but I would not want to watch 12
Yeah,
hours. I would not want to watch 12 hours of freaking I
making
don't even
puns.
know what he would do at that point. Like literally the only thing coming out of his mouth would be freaking puns. Like there's no way you have that much material. Like they barely have enough material to like do weekly vlog videos. Like who knows what
Yeah.
I don't it's ridiculous, but basically it just seems like this was not handled well. Like if this is going to be an issue that's really that drastic, like there's always ways to figure out a fix, right? You don't just fire the guy because he brought a whiteboard. Like give him a TV, give him some like if that's the main issue is you think is bringing down production value. Well, it's your broadcast, it's your company that you want to look better. Make it look better. Like invest in this, right? And I think that's kind of one of the biggest differences with what I see from Valve and what I see from Riot is like Riot is putting like they want this to be good, so they're making it good. Like they're doing the big touch screens with like all
Yeah.
that and like every like it they make it a good broadcast. It's not just the fact that they have good hosts and a good analyst desk and good casters, but they're actually helping these people make it good. So and even in some of the like smaller like um was it the last IEM where they did the 1v1s? No. What event is that? I can't even remember.
I
It
think
was
that was
it
an IEM. I don't know if
was
it was the
it?
last one, but I'm pretty sure it was at IEM. They had those they did 1v1s and then they also had like didn't they have like an MVP game or something like that too?
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember. No, it's All
Whatever.
Stars.
But
All Stars. It was all the All Star event,
for
wasn't it?
League you're talking about? 'Cause I'm talking about
Yeah.
Counter-Strike.
No,
Oh
I was
yeah.
talking
Well,
about
yeah,
League.
All
Sorry.
Stars has 1v1s and
Yeah,
all
it was
that.
the last all, which like the All Star venue wasn't like exceptional like compared to some of the places they play at, but like even that like they made it good like they
Yeah.
did, um, and I mean I'm not saying that they instantly did this. Like obviously if you look back at season one, like there was
Mm.
literally just some computers and like 12 people in the crowd. Like they've had to build this, but they've done it the right way. And if more people can, and more companies can kind of model after that, I think we'll see better broadcasts in general. And Counter Strike has improved a lot too, so it's good to see from that. But yeah, so that's all that drama stuff. So yeah, if you want to see that segment because it was extremely awkward. There's a video of highlights of it. If you just search, what's the title of the video? 1 second. 2GD, which is James Harding. His tag is 2GD. 2GD for a perfect world is the video of highlights of that segment. So yeah, that's that. Fun times. All right, so let's move on to some good news. PS4 is getting a big update. And it's been the details have been revealed. Update 3.5 for the firmware. So some big things coming in. You get online notifications for friends. You can appear offline. The user scheduled events is pretty cool. So basically, there's a calendar, and you can invite people to. So say you want to set up a raid on Destiny, and you need your whole crew. Well, you can say, hey, at Tuesday at 7 p.m. Although, let's be honest, usually raids are on Thursday. So you can set up a time and then you can invite them all, and then it will automatically like kick up a party. It'll start up the game at 7 p.m. for you and stuff like that. So I think that's a pretty cool feature, and it's gonna improve certain things like that. They require scheduling. The play together party thing seems like okay. Why was I like I didn't know that this wasn't a thing because the last console I played on was Xbox, and Xbox parties automatically like they already did this where like you can see your whole party and you can see what games they're playing. And that was one of my favorite things about Xbox was how easy it was to just play with my friends. Like we would just join a party and then you would just press a button and you could join their game. So
Wait, but what's different about that? Because I'm pretty sure you can already do that on PS4.
I don't know.
Make a
That's what
party
it says. It says it allows all members of a party to see what each person is playing so that you can easily join a friend's game. So I don't like I haven't used a PS4 interface, but apparently that wasn't a thing before. And
Okay.
Gus was talking about it too, but I don't know.
It may have just been actually now that you, I think the way it worked was your friends list. You could see what people were playing, but the party itself, like you couldn't see
Right.
in the party. But,
I mean, obviously, it's not a huge thing. Like, it's literally just a quality of life update, but it's kind of cool. So good for them. And then the big things, though, remote play for PC and Mac. So that's pretty cool. So right now they're in beta, but that piece is not in the beta. But that should be, that's definitely a cool feature for PS4 users. And then Daily Motion, which is interesting. Live streaming to Dailymotion. I don't remember the last time I went to dailymotion.com, but
yeah, I don't know.
I guess I don't like because you can already stream to Twitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Really easily too.
I don't.
Like extreme.
I'm not sure I understand that, but maybe there's a Dailymotion fan base.
Dailymotion probably paid him.
Yeah, probably right. But
sure.
all right.
Yeah, we'll host you.
So this is a cool update coming for PS4 and some quality of life stuff and whatnot like that. So it's pretty cool. So we also have some VR things. So the HTC Vive officially opened pre-orders, and they are they're going in at right around $1,000, which is not cheap. But apparently they sold the one of the lead guys from HTC tweeted that they moved more than 15,000 units in less than 10 minutes for the pre-orders.
I don't doubt it.
So that's good for HTC. Like they're definitely being smart going into this, and I've seen the Vive in use, and it seems like a really solid piece of technology. So
yeah, way too expensive for your average young college student gamer to purchase, but can you imagine like what they can do for people making YouTube videos, people making streams? Like, those people are gonna eat that up because.
And I also I realized I misread. It's actually $800.
That's still
so still expensive. Definitely not cheap, but I mean, yeah, it's definitely gonna be up there, like as far as competitiveness with the Razer Oculus, which I actually haven't seen as much about lately. The Vive, I've seen like they've been doing a lot of press with different YouTubers and stuff like that. I saw Sky play with it, and it seems really, really cool. There's definitely a lot of like, I don't know. It is really like a cool thing that this is like becoming a kind of reality, and it's like, this is the world we live in now. It's
still pretty gimmicky, but I feel like
there's definitely pieces of it, but
a couple years it's going to be interesting technology.
Yeah. So on the other side of that, McDonald's is making a VR headset.
Okay, see, I didn't see this. You can't just say that.
So right now we have the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive, and then we have the PlayStation VR. McDonald's announced, is this yesterday? No, this was on Monday. They announced the Happy Goggles. And it's a headset made out of a Happy Meal box.
Oh, wasn't that far off? Oh my god.
So, so it's really like the it's like I've had a couple friends, like it's like literally like a cardboard box that like I think you put your phone in, I'm guessing. Yeah, so
So
it
this
works
is
with the
some
smartphone.
bottom of the barrel VR
Well, I've
technology.
seen. Well, the thing is, like, my friend got one. I don't know where he got it from, but it was like hard cardboard, and then you like slide your phone in, and it was still really cool. Like, there's still some there's some cool stuff. You like, there's already apps out there for your phone and stuff like that, and but yeah, I think it's really just kind of funny about that they're doing it. I guess. Happy got so they're saying that they will be rolled out at 14 different McDonald's establishments in Sweden this weekend, and they're making about 3,500 of them, and they're selling them for $4.10. So yeah, I just thought this was kind of funny, and VR is everywhere.
Sorry, I got
Apparently.
really distracted because my camera won't refocus and it's bugging me.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's fun.
I'm gonna restart.
Wait, put your
everything.
hand up. Oh, never mind. Put your hand up to it. Do it. Do it.
Well, I just restarted it. I don't want to freak it out again.
It's still blurry.
Uh,
And then move your hand back slowly to your face. I'm telling you. It should follow your hand focus. Yeah, see, I'm the best.
well, you're the camera guy. I only do
Oh,
audio.
that's
I don't
actually
know why you
true.
expect me to know this.
All right, so we're gonna talk about. Oh wait, I just realized I don't have the tab open anymore with the Minecraft info, but we're gonna talk about Minecraft a little bit because they released a new update, and we actually need to play this because.
Because it's something new in Minecraft for once.
Right,
Woo!
exactly, and I actually want to play Minecraft again. So, update 1.9 is out, and I'm trying to find the article again with the details. We didn't talk about this last week, right?
No.
No, okay, I didn't think so. But we did talk about it at some point, but just not on the podcast. Dude, I'll find it. I know I will. Essentially, they've added some new combat things. There it is. I found it. There's new combat features. So they added I did this. I'm not. I don't know. Not just Twitter is a thing to behold, by the way. Anyways, they added shields. So there's now a shield mechanic. They added a cooldown delay on attacking, so instead of just it's like you have to actually like time your attacks, which is cool. I mean anything that makes it feel more intuitive, I think, is good. You can now hold items in both hands, so this is kind of cool. This is very what I feel similar to like Terraria, where you would choose, like, you could have like your sword and then you could have like a flashlight or a shield or like whatever, right? That kind of thing. Swords now have a special sweep attack. Axes have a special crushing blow attack. They added the Elytra, which I have no idea what that is.
It's like a glider, I believe.
Okay. Well, I googled it, and it's a special kind of armor that takes up the chest plate slots. And then it's also a pair of wings. I don't know why, but the picture. So when I googled it, I kind of want to like screen share this, to be perfectly honest with you. When I googled it, there's the description that comes, like, you know how Google will like show like a recommended result.
Yeah.
So the description is definitely just like from Minecraft, but the picture next to it is of a beetle.
So is that
It's a beetle. No, I don't think it has anything to do with it. No, maybe it is. I think that is it. I think the Elytra is on a beetle is the piece of the armor that holds the wing in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it definitely has. Yeah, you're right.
So that's interesting. But anyways, so yeah, it's like a wing chest piece thing, and which is super cool actually, because I feel like the more that they do with the base game that makes me not have to play modded versions, the better, because modded versions are just so complicated, and there's from not like at the end of the day it's not too much, but like if I feel like, just because Minecraft for me is kind of a casual game, in that like, yeah, I'm going to sink a lot of time into it, but in the fact that I don't want to have to think too much. Like, I just kind of want to build things and mess around. So the more stuff that they add to it that makes it more interesting is obviously going to make me want to play it. But yeah, anyways, so they added the shulker mobs. They expanded the end. They added chorus plants, purple blocks. I
Is
bet they're purple.
Okay. Yeah, that's
I don't
actually
know.
a thing. I found it. Purple.
They added end rod block. End rod. They added a dragon head block. The ender dragon can be resummoned now. They added beetroot and beetroot. What? Beetroot and beetroot soup. Try saying that 7 times fast.
Beetroot soup.
And then they added a grass path block, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Igloos, nice. Armor to protection values have been lowered. So basically, you're going to take more damage now. And if I remember correctly, I read something where the difference between iron and diamond isn't even that much anymore. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not really sure how what the numbers are for anything like that, but yeah, they also added tipped arrows. So I don't know if this means that there's different kind of tips. I feel like is probably what it is.
14 types of tipped arrows with potions that can be applied to them.
So that's pretty cool. They also added spectral arrows. They added the Frost Walker enchantment and Frosted Ice Block. So that's kind of cool, expanding on the probably the tundra environments. They added a bunch of new sound effects, which is cool. Sound effects subtitles, which is kind of funny. I kind of want to turn that on and mess around. But and then you now have to have blaze powder to activate the brewing stand. They also added skeleton riders. So for all y'all that want to ride a skeleton into the skeleton war, you can do that. So, and they also removed Herobrine, what is that? Herobrine, whatever.
Herobrine, I believe so.
So yeah, that's what it says for this. And there's probably more details out there that you can find, but yeah, I kind of want to play Minecraft now, so I'll be doing that soon. It'll be fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, we can probably come up with some videos for that. We always mess up somehow. Either you fall in lava
or we put a bunch of chickens in Josh's house and make him lag out and never be able to connect.
I think I still have that video.
I'm sure it's on. I feel like I know one of them is on my old YouTube of the spider riding around on my roller coaster. That was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's Minecraft. It's still Minecraft, but they've improved, so it's cool. So I also wanted to talk about Superhot that came out last week. This is an indie game. Literally, the developer is the Superhot team. They're not an established thing. This is just something that they wanted to make. And I remember playing the alpha for it when it was on Kickstarter. And it's super cool. It is at a $30 price point, which people have been complaining about a lot. It's ridiculous. But I mean, at the end of the day, they've put all this time into this game, and it is a quality game. And so if they want to be able to make more games, they need to charge money for it. They need to make money off of it. And we were talking about last week the other indie game that came out that I can't remember what it the puzzle game.
The Witness?
The Witness, that's the one, and how people were torrenting it a lot, and so they might not be able to make another game. So that I feel like that's, I don't see any problem with the price point. It has a lot of really cool things for, replayability. I found an article of just some of the coolest moments, and it's pretty rad. And it's getting pretty good reviews. GameSpot gave it an 8, Polygon gave it a 9. PC Gamer gave it an 84, IGN 7.5, and Video Gamer gave it a 9. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely
good for them.
A quality game, and from what I played, it's fun. And yeah, I just think it's a really cool, unique game. If you don't know, basically the premise is it's a shooter, but whenever you move, that's when time moves. So it creates a lot of situations where people are shooting at you, and as long as you're not moving, you can kind of look and see what where bullets are coming from and everything like that. Just bump my mic. And then figure out, well, okay, so if I move this way, I can do this, whatever, and it just creates a lot of really cool situations. And some of the levels are really attuned to that. One of them I saw that was really cool was this dude came down an elevator or something, and there was like 6 guys, and he managed to do the entire like he managed to get them all to just kill each other by dodging everything. And it's really cool. Like, I feel like figuring out creative ways to do the levels is a really cool aspect of that. So yeah. And then another game I wanted to talk about, that some people might not have heard of, is Warhammer. What is the full title? Warhammer End Times Vermintide. I don't know why I called it Vermilion. I don't even know what that is.
See, when you wrote that down, I looked at it and went, "Well, he's alone on this one because I don't know what the hell he's talking about."
Vermintide is the title. And so this game is a Warhammer game, and basically, why do I feel like I just explained this to someone? Who did I just explain this game to?
Jerry, maybe, I don't know.
I don't remember. But anyways, think if you took Left 4 Dead, put it into the Renaissance era. It's not medieval because there's guns.
Yeah, I mean
But I feel like it's just a modified, like, it's basically medieval times, and then medieval Renaissance, whatever, and then added, instead of freaking Baird, instead of guns, which there are guns, but you have
think
swords,
muskets and things. Like
right?
that,
Yeah, like
guns.
it's like black powder type guns.
Yeah.
So you have a melee weapon, so like a sword, a mace, a shield, stuff like an axe, whatever, stuff like that. And then you have a ranged weapon. So there's 4 different classes. There's the knight type class that can have like big swords, big hammers, can have sword and shield, and then it can have like a shotgun or like a rifle, stuff like that. You have the mage, who has either swords or maces or whatever for melee, and then has different types of staffs. And I think the mages are really cool because the staffs, depending on what type it is the type of attacks that it has. So I've seen one that, like, on the charge attack, basically every weapon has like a charge attack, and then it has like a normal attack. So there's like an AoE one, there's like a fireball one, and different stuff like that. There's a one that's like a spear almost. So it's really like kind of a cool thing. And then you have the archer elf, obviously, who has, like, you can have daggers or swords or both. And then you have different kinds of bows. And it's really cool because of the different arrow types, like True Flight, which is where basically it'll seek out and just kill something automatically, basically. And then you have like swift bows, so it shoots really fast, whatever. I got a poison one the other day, which is really cool. And then you have the dwarf, who is honestly, like the smaller version of the knight. It's not a whole lot different, but he can have some other types of guns, which are really cool, like pistols that shoot like fireballs, which is pretty rad, stuff like that. And then you have the witch hunter, who can have they have like rapiers, and then they have like a pistol, so they have a sword and a pistol at the same time. And then they can have rifles, they can have repeater pistols, different stuff like that. And so I feel like this game is cool because of the like progression. So it's similar to Left 4 Dead in that, like, the different maps have a, like, not like a storyline, but like there's objectives, and you go through and you complete it, and then they just have different difficulties for the maps. So there's
there's a good like 12,
10 or 12, something like that, maps. And then so depending on the difficulty, there's drops, and then at the end of the map, you throughout the map there's these like tomes and grimoires and stuff like that can add to your dice at the end of the map. So depending on how many die you have, there's you roll basically, and then that determines what like the rarity of your loot is. So I feel like it's pretty addicting because like it's like most progression type games where you get XP and then you want to get the best loot, right? And yeah, so this isn't like a very big game, like a very large uh,
No,
type of game. But yeah,
very well
it's
done.
yeah, it's well done. Like there's some glitches and stuff like that, but it's a lot of fun. And sometimes it can feel a little bit repetitive if you're doing the same map over and over. But at the same time, I think it's kind of, I don't know, because because like Left 4 Dead, like with the special types. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, instead of zombies, they're rats. So it's kind of interesting, but
Ratman.
there's
Yeah.
still that same kind of where there's like special types. So there's one that can grab you, there's one that will pounce on you, and then there's like the ogre rat, which is terrifying and giant hulked out abomination rat. So yeah, and then
Basically,
the difficulty levels actually do affect like not just the whatever damage and stuff like that, but legitimately like what is gonna happen throughout the level. So
if you liked Left 4 Dead 2 and you got bored with it because there weren't a lot of maps, you'll like this game,
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah,
And it has a little more replayability because of the progression in it. Like you'll find yourself wanting to make your character better because it's also more challenging than Left 4 Dead, because the default zombie or default rat guy is like harder to deal with because you're mostly having to deal with them in melee. So it's not like you're just mowing down hordes of zombies for free and then you just
right.
deal
Just
with the
yeah,
specials. Like it actually takes some pretty good planning on the higher
yeah, and
difficulties.
then they'll do ambushes. Like I don't know if it's on a time or whatever, but like where just hundreds of them will just
Yeah.
swarm you, and that's when it gets really scary. Um, and it also has some like that rock paper scissors combat aspects with like not the special zombies, but there's ones that are armored, so and
Oh,
they can block and stuff like that. So you have to charge attack, but then like you also have a blocking mechanic. So it's kind of that like, okay, well if I attack now, I'll do damage, but then I could get hit. So do I want to block now? Like that kind of thing. So it takes a lot more like with timing and things like that. But yeah, I think overall it's a fun game and I would recommend it. So yeah. And I think that I just saw that the Path of Exile Ascendancy update came out today
hmm.
because it's trying to update on Steam. And if that's true, I might be playing some of that because that's pretty cool. And it's pretty neat.
You don't
But
have enough games to play.
no, there's never. I have way too many games to play. Oh man, it's like I like. It's funny because I'm sure people can relate to this. I have literally well over 200 games installed on my computer at this time, and I still get bored. And there's no reason for it at all. Like there's literally like I could play the games I have right now for another 15 years. And like no, I don't even mean like, but I mean literally if I just played them all through, it would like not even touch that because then you have the replayability and stuff. But anyways, yeah. So I think that's pretty much it for this week. Unless there's anything else you had, I think that's pretty much
No,
it.
I think we covered it.
Yeah. So yeah. Thank you to anyone who listened / watched this. And if you're interested in ever watching this live, we record hopefully every week.
Hopefully.
And it's on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/spiffyish. And I'll put links in the description for all of that. And then we don't really have a set day. We usually do it Tuesday or Wednesday is the goal. So, and then
Also, sorry.
go ahead.
Also, I was going to say for those of you who are watching this on YouTube and you do get a chance to watch it live, we will answer questions if they're
Right.
not troll questions and actually relevant.
Right. Like
And
JC. Thank you,
yep.
JC_hyena_FMG for asking questions today. We appreciate that.
So those are some benefits to watching it
Yeah.
live.
Yeah. Yeah. And so definitely like we will interact with you guys. And if you say something funny, I will laugh. And that's always good. So, and then also like he was saying on YouTube, this is the video version of this is going to be on YouTube, on my YouTube Spiffish Games. And then this also goes on to iTunes if you just search the ExPack podcast. And then also if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Spiffyish Games as well. And then your Twitch, Dalton, is twitch.tv/Damon Bjorn, which I will put, like I said, I will put links to all these in the description of the video. Yeah, so feel free to like and comment, subscribe to the podcast, everything like that, and we will do our best to have not shitty content.
Entertaining content.
Right. Yeah, that's the idea. So
Yeah.
entertainment's good. Speaking of entertainment, everybody should go watch my highlights from playing Alien Isolation. It's entertaining.
It's amazing.
According to Dalton.
It's short.
So,
It won't take up your whole day. It's just a
3
nice...
hours of gameplay. I've got like 20, no, not even. It's like 16 minutes of clips. So,
yeah.
And it's, yeah.
It's
And I'm going to
gold.
be, hopefully I'm going to be playing more of that soon if I could man up and do it. But, so yeah, if you're ever interested in watching any of that, it's on my Twitch. And I always announce when I'm going to be streaming on Twitter. So, yeah, enough about that. That's it for this week. So, thank you and good luck.
See you next week.
Hopefully. All right. See ya.